AM 1020 KDKA. This is Cars, Stars, and everything in between. He's the star, Richard Mazzy from Schultz Ford at schultzford.com. I'm Bubba from 100.7 Star. And for somebody who makes a living using their voice, I am so excited for today's guest, Mr. Robert Clotworthy, who is joining us. And you're one of those people where people have heard your voice so many times, but very rarely see your face.
To their great, I'm sure they're very happy about that. I think I have a face that's made for radio.
Yeah, don't take my line now. That's my line.
Oh, that's your line. I'm sorry.
But Robert, if somebody's listening and they don't know the voice, if anybody has watched Ancient Aliens on the History Channel,
don't say it. No, don't say it yet, Bubba.
Okay, we're holding back. Okay.
Okay.
I don't give it up on the first date.
Okay. Like I said, we're very similar. So I would like to see if anybody knows. Let's hear you introduce the thing that I said to you before we got on. Can you do that?
By the way, I'm closing my eyes so I can listen.
Good morning, angels.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
You were Charlie?
Yeah, I was Charlie in Elizabeth Banks' latest version of Charlie's Angels. Yeah, I was the voice of Charlie.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah. I'd actually done that a few times before, and also in the original TV series, not the original TV series, but the remake a few years ago. I was Charlie in that as well. So it's one of those things that keeps coming back. I don't know why I sound like like Charlie, but I do.
Wow, that is so cool.
Yeah,
that's like one of my favorite. I mean, what male in this world didn't love that show?
Yeah, John Forsythe really set the high bar. And when I went into to audition, I was doing some kind of something for the movie, and Elizabeth Banks was there, and we recorded a line. She thought, wow, you sound exactly like John Forsythe. Let's stick with this. So she expanded the part, and so if you watch the movie, I'm throughout it. Yeah.
Oh, that's so fabulous.
And by the way, as a self-proclaimed Star Wars nerd,
okay,
some of your work with the Star Wars documentaries, The Empire of Dreams, was absolutely remarkable.
Yeah, that was an amazing experience. That was the original, I guess, 2.5-hour documentary that was released when the original 4, 5, and 6, the episode 4, 5, and 6 was released on DVD. So yes. George Lucas approved me. He kind of gave me his blessing, and I did 2 documentaries about Star Wars for him.
Amazing.
I mean, I don't really know Star Wars at all.
What?
But I don't.
What planet are you from?
Listen, not the one that's in Star Wars.
Oh, there you go.
No, honestly, I don't. I've never. It just doesn't click for me. I don't know why.
Okay.
So I wouldn't know you from that. But it's really interesting how you transition. Now I know, and I used to live in LA, and I think the voiceover talent, the biggest, I guess, agent in the voiceover talent arena then might have been. Is it Abrams Rubloff? I think
Abrams was one of the top ones. Yes.
Yeah, and so how do you?
SPV.
But how do you get from one, like, how do you become a voice as opposed to becoming the face? Because you're obviously a good looking guy. You could have done anything, and you chose voice.
Well, actually, when I first started at the age of 15, my father was a commercial producer. He used to work for an ad agency. And he specialized in doing radio spots. And I would go down to the studio with him, and I'd listen to all the great voiceover people do their thing. And when I turned 15, I was bugging him. I wanted to get into the business. So he introduced me to some on-camera commercial casting directors that he knew. They then got me together with an agent. And I initially started out doing television commercials, doing TV shows, movies. Did all those shows in the 70s, MASH and Rockford Files and Emergency. I mean, you name Police Story, Policewoman. I mean, all those shows, Rockford Files, I was on all of them. And, but voiceover was always kind of like there a little bit on the sideline. I'm one of those people that whatever door is open, I walk through. And I guess about 20 some odd years ago, that's when voiceover really exploded. I was always doing some voice work, but about 20 years ago, that's when it really took off. And I still do on-camera stuff. I worked with Bradley Cooper and Clint Eastwood in American Sniper. I've been on 2.5 Men, Young Sheldon. I mean, I I still work on camera as well. Not during the strike, of course, but
Right. Robert, what would you say is marketable about your voice? What about your voice is unique that people want to use it?
well, I'll tell you, out here we have a thing called the vocal signature, where if somebody were to an agent or a casting person were to describe your voice, what would it sound like? And it could be, you know, uh, you know, dumb hick, for example. That's okay. You know, or could be caustic, pain in the neck. That's okay as long as you own that. And this one casting director uh, gave me this wonderful vocal signature and was approachable intelligence. Now that doesn't mean that I'm bright. It just means that I sound like know what I'm talking about.
Wow.
And approachable meaning that it's not like a professor giving a lecture, it's somebody that's drawing you in. So that's kind of, I think, the key for my success.
Wow.
And what was it that you were labeled?
Approachable intelligence.
Give me an example of that.
Well, if you watch Ancient Aliens,
Yep.
you know, when I'm talking about these things, it sounds like I know what I'm talking about. You think this is a bright guy. This guy knows what he's talking about. But at the same time, I'm not. He's kind of bringing me along on the story. So he's the kind of guy I can talk to. He's the kind of person that I would have for dinner, you know, at my house. I love to have him at the table. Love to have a conversation with him, as opposed to somebody that's maybe a little off-putting. They're really bright, but you don't know whether you really want to be in the room with them for too long because they may think you're an idiot. I'm
Pretty much every conversation I have.
there you go. But I mean, it's interesting because you know, the producer, the original producer of Ancient Aliens, the late Kevin Burns, he would write these things when we first started doing the episodes, and he'd say, you know what, I don't know about what I'm writing, whether it's factual, it kind of doesn't make sense. And then he would hear me say it, and he would go, wow, maybe it is possible. And so I think that's kind of the key that I have. That's
Is
my way
there something that comes to mind that you could illustrate for the people listening or watching that would be the
Oh.
same thing but read differently?
Okay. So, for example, and when I do the show, right now we're kind of, you know, the microphone is about this far away from me. So I have to kind of project a little bit. When I'm in the recording studio, there's a thing we call proximity. Now it's just not only how close you are to the microphone, but it's a matter of where your audience is. And when I'm in the studio, I think the audience is about this far away from me. It's as if I'm talking real close, right into their ear.
You're a close talker.
Yeah, so it's like instead of saying, you know, is it possible? Could it be? I would go, is it possible? Could it be? So it's a little bit. It's
Wow.
I love that. I love the small detail to this.
I do
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I think people are really going to be interested in hearing.
Well, you know what Billy Wilder, the great director, said about subtlety? He said, "Make it obvious." So
That's great.
you have to know what it is you're doing.
Oh, that's why he's Billy. Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, unbelievable. By the way, if you're just tuning in, the Car Stars and everything in between, this is Robert Clotworthy. And you do know his face somewhat, but you know his voice more. When we come back, I'd like to share with you the only time I've ever had a chance to do some real voice work outside of my radio career. Plus, there's so much more to discover about Robert Clotworthy when we come back on Car Stars and everything in between on 100.1 FM, AM 1020, KDKA. Awesome.
Well, that 9 minutes went by very quickly.
It's all because yes, yes.
Yeah.
Great. Let me go here. Stand by for 1 second.
Amazing amount of stuff he's been in.
It is.
I mean,
So where'd you live in LA, Richard?
Well, I lived on Olive in Burbank. I lived in Newport Beach. I was part of the original launch team of E Entertainment Television way back when
Wow.
we bought it from movie. It was the movie channel, and then it became what it is now. So yeah, I've done that. I did work with some of the voiceover people there. I've always been encapsulated by voice work. I
Yeah.
love it. I do.
So,
Sean Perry, I think, was the guy's name at Abrams, or
I was
Babette Perry. Babette
was-
Perry, maybe.
I was actually with Abrams for 1 year on camera, but
Were
yeah,
you?
yeah.
Yeah, that's I worked with. I think it was Babette Perry, and then, then my girlfriend at the time
Uh-huh.
came home and told me that like she was leaving because she had gotten involved with David Niven Jr., who she met doing a voiceover audition.
Yeah.
So it was pretty interesting. It was a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
life.
Yeah, Harry Abrams was actually a really good friend of my father's, a good friend of the family. So,
Wow.
So you have this in your family. This
oh
act-
yeah.
wow.
Let's talk about that. You ready, Bob?
Yep, here we go. 100.1 FM, AM 1020 KDKA. This is Cars, Stars, and Everything in Between. He's the star, Richard Bazzi from Schultz Ford at schultzford.com. I'm Bubba from 100.7 Star. And on today is the voice of the stars, Robert Clotworthy. Robert, I want to give you just one time that I've ever been able to use my voice. So I was cast as God.
Really?
In a local production of Altar Boys.
So I guess Morgan Freeman was not available.
Morgan Freeman was not available. It was a production of Altar Boys that was downtown in the Cultural Trust. And but it was interesting because there was a director, there was a producer, they were all in the studio with me, and just the way they had me read the lines and change the lines. And then the coolest part about it was when I finally went to see the show, it was about 1 month into the run, and all of the actors that had been acting with my voice for a month, watching their reaction when they finally met me. It was truly one of the coolest experiences of my entire career.
Well, meeting the voice of God. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't get. I mean, that's pretty powerful. I think I'd be afraid to say that even that I played God.
I'm really shocked that God actually still uses the urinal when he needs to.
Hey, when he has to, he's got to go. He's got to go.
He's got to go.
Oh my God. So reading your list of accomplishments and participation, it's insane. And how would somebody? Because I've always enjoyed a relationship with a microphone and radio, and I love it. How would somebody go from really wanting to do that to where you are? What's the path?
Well, I'm not, tooting my own horn, but one thing you really need to be, if you want to be successful in voiceover, is a really good actor. The people that I know that are voiceover successful voiceover artists are all good actors. And I don't just mean decent actors. I mean, these are people that have been. I worked with one guy on a movie. It was a Xander Cage movie, one of those things. The guy was nominated for an Olivier Award for Miss Saigon, which is the English equivalent of the Tony. Then he was heading off to Broadway for the revival of Miss Saigon. People that are graduates of the Yale Drama School, Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts. I mean, these are really, really talented people. Most individuals would think that all you need to have is a good voice. We've all heard, "Oh, I've got a nice voice. I should be in voiceover."
Right.
But you really need to be a good actor, and to be a good actor, you really need to understand yourself. You need to be able to expose what we call your truth, warts and all, whether that's good or bad. That's what I was saying. If you're a constant pain in the ass, you have to own that. Just be that, because that's who you are. And that's the biggest challenge, and I think the biggest thing that people don't understand, because the competition at the professional level in voiceover is very fierce. And the microphone, we like to call, it's a BS detector. It can tell when you're not being honest. So it's critically important. You know what I'm saying? Exactly.
Absolutely.
That's it. Yeah. On camera, you can hide behind your face, but when you're listening to a voice, it gets into your skull in a very unique way, and that's why it's so important that you understand who you are.
Well, I have to really give that some thought. I really do. I think that's pretty deep, and I think that really understanding that, I really want to process that. Do you have any favorites that you were part of? Do you have a favorite show or appearance or something that really stands out that was your aha moment?
Well, I guess maybe the aha moment was many years ago, and I was doing a lot of on-camera work at the time, And I went through a slow period. Fortunately for me, I've always been busy ever since I was 15 years old, knock on wood. But an agent said, Robert, you're not having any fun. And I realized that part of what you got to do as an actor is you need to let go of the importance that we all put on it, that this is so critically important, that we're basically in a position where we are able to do what we were doing as kids. We're just playing, but we're playing at a higher level and a higher skill set, but it's still play. That's why when you're acting, you're one of the players in the
Wow.
show. Yeah.
Is there any genre of voice work that you love more than another? Like whether it be documentaries, whether it be cartoons, whether it be is there
It's
one thing that you love the most?
no, it's all good. I mean, I'm one of those people, like I said before, I walk through the door that's open and having appreciation is critically important. When I go into the studio and do Ancient Aliens, and we've done, close to 300 episodes. When I go in
Jeez.
there, it's like the first day I'm ever going into the recording studio.
Oh, wow.
I treat it like that, like I have to work hard to do it. I don't just phone it in. When you do video games, I've done tons of video games. The most famous, I guess, would be StarCraft, where I played Jim Raynor.
You were Jim Raynor in StarCraft? I didn't
Yeah.
realize that.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
gigantic.
It's really huge. Yeah, it
It's
was really
huge.
huge. And what was amazing about that, there was a complete story that's happening with it. Played it for, 10, 20 years, started in 1999, still doing it. So that has its own unique challenge. Narration is amazing. It's beautiful. The fact that I'm able to go into my voice is in people's homes, every week. People tell me I'm part of the family. That it's that they are able to go to different places of the world with me that they never would go. So it's an amazing experience and opportunity that I don't take lightly, because I know that in a heartbeat it can be taken away. So I also try to live incredibly in the present.
So I'm curious, because if you've done 300 shows of something,
Yeah.
is it difficult to maintain the same voice, the same attitude, the same approach, and to sound the same for each of those shows?
Well, it's not the sound that's so important. It's I guess the intent that's behind it. When I go in there, first of all, I don't get the script in advance. I'm really good about taking the words off the page. I look at myself as not only the narrator, but I'm also a viewer of the show.
Wow.
So if something interests me, like for example, there was something in the script where it said that the Great Pyramid of Giza, the place where it is, latitude, longitude, is the speed of light in meters per second. I went, well, how is that possible that the Egyptians just happened to put it there? That's makes no sense to me. It's
So
crazy.
as you're narrating, you're experiencing it
Yeah.
the same way a viewer would experience
Exactly.
it.
So that interest that I had is conveyed in my read, because it's fascinating to me. It's interesting to
And
me.
it's real. It's
It's
real.
real. It's right
and it's
there.
organic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And plus
That-
they're paying me. So it's that's all that's a factor.
Is there, tell very quickly, Mel Blanc, I had a chance to work with, explain Mel Blanc, one of the greatest voice
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
people and most, just iconic.
Yeah. Bugs Bunny, Elmer Fudd. I mean, you name him, he was him.
And how was he?
Amazing. I'd seen him, come into the studio along with Dawes Butler, who was also one of the great cartoon character voices when I was growing up. So to go into the studio and to see these people and to meet them as a kid, and see how much fun they're having while they're doing it and how creative it is, it was incredibly inspiring. So it gave me that love for it at an early age without the pressure of having to perform to do it. You could just play and have fun with it. Later on, it came the acquiring of the skill, how to make it work. I mean, it's like you're giving a kid a guitar. When they first start playing, you don't criticize them, just let them strum the strings, let them fall in love with the instrument. They will come to you and say, how do you make a G? And you go, okay, this is how you do it. That's when the learning comes in, but you have to have the love first. That will sustain you during those dry periods, the period where maybe you're struggling a bit, but
Wow.
you'll always have that love to kind of sustain you and get you to the next phase.
Robert Clotworthy, we could have done 3 shows with you. You are absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, you really are. There's so much content here to talk about. And so tell me one thing. I see this all the time on my Instagram, and I always see these 10-second clips of 2.5 Men. How was that to work with those guys?
It was amazing. I think I did maybe 15, 20 episodes voiceover. And what was interesting about Charlie has this ability to, it's like he sees the script once and he knows everything. He memorizes it. So he had this incredible ability to do that. And I worked with with a producer on several other shows, even most recently with young Sheldon. So I feel like I was part of the acting troupe. It's amazing. It's amazing. And the shows, people love them. 2.5 Men, Big Bang Theory. It was lovely to be a part of. I remember working on the first season of Big Bang before it was popular, and did one episode. I went up to the cast, and Mayim was there, and I said, you guys got a hit. And they go, really? I said, yeah, you guys are going to be around a long time. And they were, well, thank you.
That's unbelievable. Well, Robert, thank you for joining us for Cars, Stars, and Everything in Between.
My
Robert,
pleasure.
thank you so much.